Before we conclude with our final thoughts, I do want to just quickly ask you about the possibility of an upcoming live action Miles Morales movie. Amy Pascal, producer over at Pascal Pictures, produced all these Spider-Man movies. Essentially, she's very much instrumental into the development of Spider-Verse in live action and animation, has confirmed that they're working on a live action movie. How do you feel about that? Is it time for that character to make his transition into live action, especially considering like this is working so well? The animated movies are just doing extraordinarily well, and even the video games are having huge success. Is this the right time to bring Miles Morales into live action? And what do you think that might look like? Does it happen in a standalone movie? Does he pop up in Tom Holland's movies? How do they bring that character to life?
Man, it'll be interesting, but I know regardless, they have to treat it with care right now. As you mentioned, low-key Miles is the Spider-Man in this moment, in this time, between the video games, between what we're doing with these Into the Spider-Verse movies, comics, Miles is the guy. And so you kind of have to treat it with care no matter what route I think you decide to go down. In terms of how they get it done, it'll be hard to say. One of my favorite ideas is one we visited recently on another podcast where we were talking about what if in Beyond the Spider-Verse we somehow get a live action casting of Miles Morales. To be honest, I would lose it. My popcorn would probably already be gone by this point, but I'm throwing the bucket across the room because and some people argue, oh, animation, we need to see it. Us as people, we've live action everything else. Live action Spider-Man needs to happen. We need to see him look like us, and I think that's important. In another way, I think they do get it done. One of my worries, I remember at one point, was that Tom Holland just isn't old enough, because in a lot of these Miles iterations, whenever Peter is in Miles's life, whether dead or not, right? Video games, Peter did not. You know what I'm saying? Video games or not, Peter is just older. He's almost, you know what I'm saying? He can actually be a mentor to Miles versus Tom Holland. Of course, now he's a little like he's going to college, but like we need, in my mind, we need late Peter before we get kind of the Miles that we're looking for. And I think maybe we're finally getting to that point, right? Where now we know this new iteration of the MCU Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man, is older. His friends are going to college. He is on his own. He is making his own suits. Maybe, in my mind, in a couple movies, we might be ready. Maybe we're ready now. I don't know. But what I will say is now they can play with universes as much as they want. You know what I mean? It almost doesn't even matter in some ways in which they put Miles in or where they want to put them, as long as it's done with care. And I think that's the most important part, because y'all could say a Miles movie is coming out in a couple years and it'll just be in a different universe than everybody else's universe. It don't got to deal with the video game, the Into the Spider-Verse, the MCU, none of that. It could just be Miles' movie somewhere else. And so that is one of the benefits, I think, of this multi-dimensional, multi-universe thing that you're doing, is now you can just put them wherever you see fit. And so I'll be interested to see where they do it. Again, I still really do love that Beyond the Spider-Verse idea. I think that's cool, but man, I think only time will tell what Amy Pascal and anybody else has up their sleeve when it comes to live action Miles. But I'm excited nonetheless.
So to put it plainly, do I want to see Miles Morales in live action? Absolutely. There's no question about it. I think it would be a great move to do so. And in addition to that, we've gotten 10 theatrically released Spider-Man movies in the 21st century alone. Since the year 2002, we've gotten 10 Spider-Man movies, but we've gotten 5 James Bond movies. We've gotten 4 or 5 Batman movies, maybe 6. They have found a way, the people at Sony and then also Marvel Studios by proxy because of the MCU connections with Tom Holland, they have found a way to always make sure that they eventize Spider-Man movies, to make them feel important, to make sure that every time out, we have to make sure we're going to knock this out of the park to the best of our ability. Have they hit that mark every single time? No. There are some ones in that canon of films that aren't that great, that we don't look back that fondly on, but they have figured out a way to always rectify it. They have always gone back and said, that didn't work. Let's come up with a solution that will work. When the Tobey Maguire movie in Spider-Man 3 kind of fell apart, they pivoted and did Andrew Garfield, who was a great casting. And then that second movie didn't work. And so they were like, Maybe now's the time to pull the trigger on the MCU connections. Let's do that.
Yep.
Great decision. Then Tom Holland appears in Avengers movies. Great decision. And then at the same time, they're like, well, we can still develop our own stuff. Let's take a chance, excuse me, on a version of the character that maybe a lot of people don't know with Miles Morales. And so they do Into the Spider-Verse. And so I think that they know how to pivot. And so I'm not worried about them taking care of the character and doing absolutely right by him. I actually have a lot of confidence that they'll do it the right way. And they're going to spend the time that they need to make sure that a live action Miles Morales movie will be great. That said, to just play devil's advocate, this animation is so fucking good. It's so extraordinary. It's starting to actually make me wonder, yo, is live action really the route now for some of these characters? Like, do we have to do that? Like, wouldn't it be incredible if we could get like an animated movie of this caliber with X-Men? Wouldn't it be incredible if we can get an animated movie of this caliber with, I don't know, Fantastic Four? We're going to get the live action, of course, but like, I'm just wondering about the ways and the opportunities in which we can explore this stuff. And I feel like Marvel Studios, they've tapped into animation, obviously, recently with What If and some other series that are coming, but it ain't touching this. It ain't even in the same ballpark. Not even close.
Holding a candle.
Not holding a candle. But what if we could get to that level? Sony can't do that because they only have Spider-Man. But like, if Marvel were ever able to achieve this level of storytelling and animation, is this not the route to go? Because I ain't gonna lie to y'all, we've been talking about the CGI for some of these superhero movies over the past like year and a half, and they ain't been great. A lot of this ain't been great. Recently, Guardians of the Galaxy, good job. But some of these movies ain't been great. This animation, though, they're fucking doing it, you know, and it looks great. It looks like a comic book. It looks looks like how I always imagined it to be. So I'm just throwing that out there, just saying like, perhaps live action isn't always the route. It's probably always the inevitable route because it's capitalism. They gonna want to make money. Like that's the bottom line, you know, at the end of the day. So, but I think creatively, just my creative spirit is just like wondering like, well, perhaps there's a better solution, and perhaps live action isn't always the answer. Because for Miles so far, live action has not been the answer. Animation has been the perfect answer for this character, for this story that they're trying to tell. But we'll have to see. It all depends on just the quality of the movie and how it ultimately paints out to be.